Welcome to topic 11. Today we're going to still be finding segment lengths in circles. The only difference is, where do those segments intersect now? Outside the circle. So what I notice is, this time, if I were to throw a ball at someone, this sharp point right here would be super sharp, and when it hit me in the head, it wouldn't just pop me. I would say, ow, because it would hurt so bad. So this is ow, ow. And what does the O stand for? It stands for the part of that segment that is outside the circle. And what does the W stand for? The W stands for the whole segment. We can also say the entire segment. So when I look at it, I'm going to highlight these once again, just so I know which segments I'm talking about. And I have this red segment, EB. So if I look and say, what part is outside the circle? From E to A is outside the circle. What part is the entire segment? EB. Now, if I look at the other segment, and I'll make it blue, what do I know about this? This one is equal to, the part outside on the blue section is from E to C. The entire segment, the whole thing, is from E to D. So now let's look at some practice problems. If I look at the first practice problem, what I see, and I'm going to highlight, once again, you can tell I like color coding. Here is my red segment, and here is my blue segment. So in looking at the red segment, if I set it up, the part outside the circle is the 7. The entire segment, the entire thing is the 7 and an X. I can't multiply. When I combine segments, I add, so I get 7 plus X. And what does that equal? On the blue side, the part outside the circle is 6. And the entire thing from 6 all the way down to here is 6 plus 15, or 21. So when I do the math, I'm going to distribute on the left-hand side, and I'm going to get 49 plus 7x equals 126. I'm going to subtract 49 on both sides, and I get 7x equals 77. So I divide both sides by 7, and x equals 11. So let's look at one more example before we go on to the other little section of notes. Once again, I'm going to highlight one segment in red, the other one in blue. Notice my lines aren't straight, I apologize. So on the red segment, the part outside the circle is 7. The entire thing is 7 plus x minus 2. What does that equal? Well, in blue, the part outside is 8. The entire thing is 8 plus negative 5 plus x. I'm going to start by combining my like terms in the inside of these parentheses. I have a 7 minus 2, so it's going to be x plus 5. On this side, 8 plus negative 5 is 3 plus x. Now I'm going to go ahead and distribute. 7x plus 35 equals 24 plus 8x. Then I'm going to subtract 7x on both sides. I get 35 equals 24 plus x. Subtract 24 on both sides, and x equals 11. So if I move on, the difference here is this is still an ow-ow problem. The only problem is if I look at, and I'm going to highlight it in red for you, if I look at this segment right here, we have a special name for that. We call it a tangent. So the outside and the whole happens happen to be the same thing. So in this case, it would be outside of EA times the entire thing of EA equals, the other one which I didn't highlight would be outside is EC and the whole thing is ED. So when something's multiplied by itself, we can square it. So it just happens to be a special case when we have a tangent. So let's look at this example over here, number 3. I have a red segment and I have a blue segment. Now my red segment is x, the part outside and the entire thing happen to be the same because it's a tangent. The blue segment, the part outside is 8, the entire thing, remember I'm adding, 8 plus 10 is 18. So when I do that math, I end up getting x squared equals 144. I'm going to take the square root of both sides and I get x equals 12. I know it can't be a negative 12 because this segment can't be negative. It just doesn't make sense. Moving on to example 4. I have the part outside, the red segment, and the blue segment. And in the red segment, the part outside and the entire thing happen to be the same again. In the blue segment, I have a 9 and a 9 plus x. So 15 times 15 is 225. And then I'm going to distribute. I'm going to subtract 81 on both sides of my equation. And I'm going to end up with 144 equals 9x. I divide both sides by 9 and x equals 16.